Howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, a podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and connecting them with the others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief marketing officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of the Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Took a while for me to get that open here. All right. So this is our monthly state of marketing for roofers. This is actually entitled the August State of Marketing for Roofers. We got a lot of things to talk about here. A lot of things have been changing inside of the not only the roofing industry itself, but inside of marketing. So let's jump right into everything here. Okay. All right. First of all, this is the big news. ChatGPT 5 is out. Okay. If you ever log into ChatGPT and you log into it and you're looking at all the different models and you're quite confused on exactly which model that we should use, 04 or 4.0 or 03 or 4.1, whatever, they specifically made each of those models to do a very specific type of task. Okay. So, it gets very confusing and all that kind of stuff. So what OpenAI has done, right? The owners of ChatGPT is that they have rolled it all up into one specific model, all right? ChatGPT 5. They also made it smarter. They made it faster. And basically you don't have to worry about what all these models are now. Okay. So as I currently record this, GPT-5 is being rolled out across the globe. Okay. So, depending on when you listen to this and what kind of subscription that you have to ChatGPT is going to be really what you're seeing. Okay. Some of y'all might be seeing, GPT-5. Some of y'all still might be seeing 4.0 and 03 and all of these different models. Okay. Just take this all with a grain of salt that if you don't see it now, it should be out soon. Now, they are prioritizing the pro users, the plus users, the team users. I do know that in my team account, I see GPT-5, but in my plus account, I don't see it quite yet. All right. So it's going to be coming out probably within the next week or so. I would imagine that as they roll it out worldwide. All right. So what can you do with it? Well, all of the same stuff that you could do with, all of the other models. Okay. Now, speaking of which, all of those other models, not all of them you could do every single thing with, right? So for instance, 03, you weren't able to open up any of the custom GPTs that you create or were shared with you, which is weird. Only in 4.0 and 4.0 mini and a couple of other ones there could you actually open up a custom GPT, which if you've been listening to me for any length of time, you will notice that I talk about custom GPTs all the time. I love those things because they're just little GPT models that we create to do one specific task, and so forth, right? So yes, you can do all the same stuff that you could do with 5. Now you can do all of that. So like images, search, any of that code, you can do all of that kind of stuff with it, as well as, by the way, and if you don't know this, but they've got a new kind of tool out there called Agent, right? That it can do kind of some deeper lifting. And if you hook it up to tools, which there are a whole bunch of new tools that have been added into ChatGPT, it's gotten a lot cooler of things that you can do within ChatGPT. So for instance, I have it currently, right now, as I'm talking, right, I've got a list. It's researching a list of people to bring onto the Roofer Growth Hacks podcast. Kind of a cool idea, right? So it's getting all of that information, and I'm going to be able to hand that over to my team for them to be able to do some outreach and so forth, get really cool people on to the podcast here. Okay. So if you haven't logged in to ChatGPT in a while, or you're not a heavy user like me, you might not even have known that 5 came out. Just know that it's going to be rolling out soon. It's supposed to be a heck of a lot better. I've tried it. It's fast. Okay. It seems a little bit faster. I've had it do a few things for me inside of my team account, and, it seems all right. It seems pretty good. I like the simple fact that I'm not going to have to remember which model does what. Okay. So that's kind of the cool part. All right. On to our next subject. The next subject here, and I'm talking mainly to, obviously to roofers, but just know we're heading into August. We're in August. We're right now is recording. I'm recording this on August 8th. And guess what? Here in Texas, it's kind of drying up. All right. And if you've been around the roofing industry for a while, you know that if it ain't raining, people aren't calling. Okay. So what do you do in times like this when not only the rain dries up, but the leads start drying up? All right. So I want to talk about leaning more into your marketing. And this is something that I'm talking with clients about quite a bit here. And what does that mean? Well, that means a couple of different things. That means that one, you probably should consider spending more, right? And I know that's hard when the leads aren't coming in, the sales aren't coming, right? But if you've prepared all year long and you know that this is going to happen, then you have a little bit of budget set aside, hopefully, for this time of the year. Okay. So the more successful clients that we have understand this principle, and they'll say, okay, well, let's spend a little bit more in August and September when the rain is drying up and people aren't calling nearly as much. Okay. Same thing happens during December and January in some parts of the country and in February as well. Okay. So consider spending more, leaning more into your marketing. Okay. Because guess what? You still have to get those leads. And if you've got a lead quota for your sales team, right, and you have a specific sales number that you want to hit, just reverse engineer what it's going to take to get you there. Okay. Next, let's talk about, and I talk about this all the time, but this is something that I want every single person listening to this podcast to understand, that in times like this right here, you want to not only lean into your marketing and spend more money, you want to add another pole in the water. I like to equate, marketing to fishing. I have a buddy of mine who he talks about this all the time too. When I go fishing, I don't like fishing with just one fishing pole. Okay. And if you think about it in those terms, let's say that I go fishing and I've got a buddy of mine who fishes with like 5 poles. Well, guess what? He has 5 times more chance to catch fish than someone fishing with 1 pole, right? But yet most of us, and now I'm talking about marketing, most of us in the roofing industry only use 1 pole in the water. We're completely dependent on one channel, right, to bring leads in. Well, if we add another pole in the water for marketing purposes, okay, that might be figuring out another channel and getting it working to get leads in. Okay. So as a great example, a lot of people that come to me, they talk to me about, Google ads. That's great. Google ads are great. And I love Google ads, but if that's the only thing that you are doing, maybe you might want to consider doing some, optimization for Google Maps. Okay. For the 3-pack, or for doing some organic search engine optimization, right? Or trying to figure out, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit here in a little bit, but AI optimization, right? Getting in front of more people today than knew about us yesterday on ChatGPT, let's say. Okay. So the point here is that in times when leads are drying up, it's very beneficial to try to figure out a new channel and put another pole in the water. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Next, because August, because September here in Texas, it dries up dramatically. Okay. And so I've known about this principle for the past 20 years and working with roofing companies, but it's time now to tighten up your sales. All right. Lean into your marketing, tighten up your sales. This is what I coach all of our clients on every single year when we get to this time of the year. Okay. So how do you tighten up your sales? What does that even mean? Well, that means that you want to be at a high conversion rate on your sales. Okay. Part of that is having a good sales staff, a good sales process, a good sales system. All right. The very first part of any sales system for any roofer is making sure that your appointment setting is working. Okay. Are you answering the phones? Are you, are you qualifying those leads as they come in? Are you going through and actually setting an appointment when they call, and not just taking a phone number to have some salesperson follow up when they feel like it? Okay. I highly recommend, by the way, that you do all three of those things. Answer every single phone call, qualify the lead when they do call, make sure that they're the homeowner, make sure that they, are going to be there, that, all that kind of stuff there in your surface area, that there's a service that you provide. Okay. And then set that appointment when they call. Now, if you're not currently doing that, this could easily double, triple, quadruple your sales, because guess what? If you're not doing that on the phone right now, people are calling, they're calling right down the line, okay, to the other roofing company that is actually doing all of that. And as soon as that actually happens, and there's an appointment set, their problem is solved. So by the time that your salesperson calls them back, they're long gone. Now, we've known that this is an issue for a long time in our industry, and we've done all sorts of things to fix this for our clients specifically. All the way from hiring appointment setters to do this, all the way to hiring call centers that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to do this. We have recently started rolling out our AI voice receptionist called Samantha that solves this problem 100%. She can handle up to 100 phone calls at a time, which would never happen in your case, right? And she works 24 hours a day. She answers every single phone call. She qualifies the lead, and she sets the appointment. If you are interested in something like that, please reach out to me. I would love to set you up with our staff here to see if it's a good fit for you. But it's very affordable, and I think it solves the biggest issue in our industry. Okay, so enough about that. The appointment setting is the very first thing to fix. Number two, make sure that you're sending estimates out in a timely fashion. You can't imagine how many smaller guys that I talk to, right? Or even bigger guys. When we talk to some of our clients, we really dig into their sales and what's going on in their sales, system. A lot of time they're not creating an estimate until a week later, 2 weeks later. Again, this is very similar to the other issue that I was talking about with appointment setting. If you're not creating and sending out your estimates in a timely fashion, in a fast enough fashion, right, your competition most likely is. And guess who is going to win that sale? So make sure that you turn that estimate around as fast as you possibly can. I highly recommend within an hour these days, if not having it drawn up before you even get there with a tool like Roofle, right? That has good, better, best. You go up on the roof, you talk to the homeowner, you pull it open on your iPad and or your laptop, and you do it right then and there. Okay. That way you're also answering any objections, handling any objections right then and there, and not letting it go, down the road. Okay. So that's that. Timely estimate creation. That's a huge deal in sales. Number three is make sure that you're following up with those estimates. If you don't sell them right then and there in their own house right there, right, and get a contract signed, follow up with them. And when I say follow up them, I say follow up, and Adam Bensman, talks about this all the time. Ryan Groth, who I had on the podcast earlier this year, said this as well. You got to follow up at least 10 times. Okay. I would further say at least 15 times. And when you follow up, make sure that you're reaching out via phone and via SMS, possibly even email. Okay. Every single time, multiple touch points for every single one of those main touches. Okay. Follow up is the key. We see this consistently time and time again with our clients who are very successful. The ones who are the most successful that have over a 25% close rate. All right. Which is phenomenal. If you can get to a 40, 50, 60% sales rate or higher, I mean, you're killing it. Okay. That means that you have to spend less on the front end, on the marketing side of things, in order to achieve where you want to go with your company. Okay. So anyways, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. All right. Again, this is all because August, the rain's drying up. So leads are going to dry up. All right. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Next topic. And this kind of, dovetails right into this. Has sales become harder for you? Okay. When I interviewed Ryan Groth at the beginning of this year in I think January of 2025. Okay. When Ryan Groth, super awesome guy to know. If you need any help at all whatsoever with your sales process, I highly recommend that you give him a call. Okay. Just go back and look at our episodes and you'll find contact information for Ryan Groth. Okay. But he said at the beginning of this year that sales has gotten harder. Right. And we thought that it was going to get easier with the current president in place. And I'm not going to get into the politics and all that kind of stuff. Right. But we thought it was going to get easier. But with all of these tariffs, right, that are happening and the belt is tightening. Okay. And in fact, I read a statistic this week that said 42% of consumers say they're delaying large purchases. Well, guess what a roof is? That's a large purchase. Okay. So your sales is critical to the growth of your business. So I would highly, highly recommend that at this time, right, in August 2025, that you sit down and you really tighten up that sales process. Because if you are below a 25% conversion rate, your sales is not on point. Okay. I've seen some of our clients that are at 10% or less. And all I ever hear from them is, we need more leads. We need more leads. We need more leads. And I'm like, you gotta fix your sales process. Okay. You got to fix your sales team. So tighten that up. Talk to Ryan Groth. Highly recommend him. Right. Get your sales staff trained up. This is the perfect time of the year to do that. If they're not as busy right now, then, what else they got going on? Okay. So highly, highly recommend that you do that. All right. Next topic, voice search. All right. This has been a topic that's been going around in the marketing circles for, I don't know, ever since Siri came out. Okay. And Alexa and, all of these other voice assistants, right? We called them assistants up until recently. Voice has become bigger and bigger. And in fact, I read a stat this week that said nearly half of all online searches are voice driven. Now, think about that. That's a dramatic shift from 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it was probably like 10%. Okay. So what's made it easier? Easier for the consumer. There's a lot of tools that are out there. The technology's gotten way better. Our phones have gotten even smarter. Okay. And so where I'm coming at from here is that this is a time now to start really, really thinking about your voice search, strategy. Okay. And if you combine that with AI search, which is what we're going to talk about here in a second, is you have really, really got to consider how you're going to position your company to be there when people are searching for you, right? Get in front of more people today than knew about you yesterday. All right. That's part of in the 4R roofing marketing system. That's reach. Okay. The reach pillar is get in front of more people than knew about you yesterday. Now, how do you do this? Well, what we have found is that including frequently asked questions on your website, right, dramatically helps with this. How much does a roof cost? How much, a lot of things that people ask about should be put onto your website. And let's answer those questions. And if you actually dig into your sales process, again, that sales process, if you dig into your sales process, it's all the questions that people are already asking your sales staff. Okay. So make sure that all of those types of questions are put onto your website. The more FAQs that you have on your site, the better chances you have to show up in search. Now, I say, instead of just answering an FAQ with a paragraph, answer it with a blog. Okay. And then link to it from your FAQ section, because a blog is going to have way more text, which is what Google absolutely loves. All right. It's what Siri, which is based off of, by the way, Bing. Okay. Bing loves text. Okay. So make sure that you're actually, putting text on your website. Okay. It's kind of a no-brainer, but you can't imagine how many websites that I come across on a daily basis that have zero blogs. They have maybe one or two pages on their website. I come across a ton of them that are just a one-page website. That is not enough text to give to Google, Bing, ChatGPT, any of these AI tools that people are using and what they're going to be using in the future. Start positioning your brand now as much as you possibly can. Okay. By strengthening your website. All right. Next topic, AI search, right? I might have talked about this last month, but AI search is getting bigger and bigger. And I'm seeing way more of our searches when people search for the best roofing company near me, best roofing company in College Station. More and more of those searches are coming up with the AI portion at the very top of Google. Okay. So now is the time to start thinking about how you're going to position your website to be at that top, to be the one that is recommended and not your competition. Now it's way different inside of Google search, right? It's way different inside of Google AI search than it is inside of Google search, right? Inside of Google search, you've got, several areas there. You've got local service ads. You've got the 3-pack, the map pack, right? The 3 map listings. Okay. And then you've got organic search underneath that. The vast majority of the leads are going to the map pack right now and local service ads. Now, what we're seeing is that there's a placement above all of that. And that's the AI search. So let's talk about how you actually get there, right? First, let's talk about the platforms. The first one is Google, right? Google has been the top dog and still is the top dog out there and has been for the past 20 plus years. Okay. New contender out there is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is currently sitting in a lot of people's pockets. They're sitting on that $1,000 right machine sitting in their pocket. And I don't know if you know this, but you can actually turn it on just like Siri and you can ask it questions. So more and more of the younger generation, right? We're talking Gen Z here. We're talking the millennials, the Gen Zs, the Gen Alphas, right? They're going to be using that more and more, right? So how do we actually get in front of them in ChatGPT? All right. Number one, ChatGPT is Bing based, meaning that Microsoft Bing is the other search engine that's out there. It's been sitting at probably 10%, right? The last time I looked at the search world, about 10% of all the searches out there. Most roofing companies have completely ignored Microsoft Bing for the past decade. Okay. It's not relevant. That's why Google has been the big dog in the room. And so we had to pay attention to Google. But now, because of ChatGPT, Bing has become more relevant. Okay. And because of Siri also uses Bing. It's becoming more and more relevant. Okay. So I got to ask you, have you even set up your Bing listing? Did you know that Bing has a listing just like Google Business Profile? If you haven't even bothered to set that up, I guarantee you're probably not showing up in ChatGPT. That's one of the biggest, easiest things and lowest hanging fruits that you could do is just go set up that business profile with Bing. Super easy to do. It's free. You can go out there and do that. All right. Number 2, make sure that you have reviews and not just reviews on Google. Okay. Want to make sure that you have diversified your review portfolio, if you will. Okay. Or your review strategy is diversified. Okay. Want to make sure that you are, have reviews, and we all hate them, but Yelp, right? We want to make sure that we have Yelp reviews. We want to make sure that we have Better Business Bureau reviews. We want to make sure that we have reviews on Facebook. Okay. Because here's why. ChatGPT is combining all of that information and putting it into one singular place. And it's judging you your business based off of that. Okay. So make sure that you're not just focused 100% on Google. And then I'm talking to my clients here now, right? We need to start really diversifying that review portfolio. Okay. Make sure that you've even set up all of these profiles on websites, things like Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, the NRCA, Certainteed, et cetera. I mean, there's all of these places that we can list your website inside of, for the roofing industry specific, as well as, general, just like the Chamber of Commerce and Better Business Bureau. Okay. But these all build trust factors with Google that is becoming more and more important. Okay. And this is how you're going to be judged by AI and not just on links and content. Okay. So start thinking about that. Now, what about Google AI? All right. EAT still applies. And what is EAT? EAT is something that Google came out with, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. Okay. And we all in the industry just thought that they just made this thing up. Okay. But if you think about it, it really makes sense. All right. EAT stands for EEAT, expertise. Right. Are you an expert in what you say you are? Experience. What is the experience that people have on your website, but also what is your experience? Okay. Authority. Is your website authoritative or is it just a little dinky website? Okay. Trustworthiness is for T. How trustworthy is your website? And that's easy to tell for Google. And they've done this for the past 20 years, and it's based off of how trustworthy are the backlinks coming, to your website. So EAT is a principle that still applies, right? So basically what we do for search engine optimization for Google Maps still applies to Google AI. Number 2, reviews across the board. We want to make sure that we've got plenty of reviews and that they're good reviews and that you get them on a steady basis, not meaning that you're not getting them in spurts or the last review that you got was 10 years ago. Okay. It matters to get them on a regular basis. Next one is frequently asked questions. Just like with ChatGPT, we want to make sure that we are adding FAQs to our website. And do you answer that question the best? Okay, that people are actually looking for. Now, here's a small tip is look inside of your search engine console. Okay. If and this is something that Google has that's free out there. You just have to hook it up to your website. It will tell you exactly what people are searching for to get to your website. All right. You'll find most likely if you've got a decent website that it has good FAQs, you're going to notice some of those are getting better and better searches or more and more searches, more people, more visitors, I guess, coming to your website, right? Look at those and really analyze how should I optimize that for AI? Okay. If someone were searching for that in AI, how could I optimize that even better? Right. And this is really for your marketing team to be thinking about. But as roofing company owners, you need to know that content is still king on the internet. Okay. All right. Last piece for Google specifically. All right. Is that, and this is how we have to treat AI search the same way that we've treated Google search, right, for the past 20 years. It's king of the hill. So what's the best way for you to figure out how to outrank your competition? You've got to do a competitive analysis. You got to figure out exactly what they are doing that you're not doing. ChatGPT is great for this. Okay. Just put your website in there and ask it why your website is not ranking. What are they doing? Why you're ranking above them. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you connect with me online on LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube or wherever that you're finding me. And while you're there, make sure you give us a big Aggie gig 'em thumbs up and subscribe to whatever channel that you are listening to. I also want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you're a roofing company owner and don't have this book in your hands, I'll send it to you for free, at least a digital copy of it. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you that free digital copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.